Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really getting into how artificial intelligence is changing things up in creativity and collaboration.
Yeah, it's a huge topic. And we're leaning on some insights from Jeremy Utley today. He's an adjunct professor over at Stanford, teaches creativity, AI, the whole intersection.
Right, exactly. And he kicks things off with this great little story. It's about Winston Churchill, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, picture Churchill, in the bathtub, dictating this really important speech to his assistant who's in the room next door.
Okay.
And he's constantly correcting her, tweaking the words. He apparently really wished he had someone who just got it, understood his context, his voice, everything.
Like a mind reader assistant?
Kind of. And Utley's point is that AI, in a way, is starting to make that sort of personalized, context-aware help available for everyone.
That's a really interesting way to frame it. That desire for a truly intuitive partner isn't new, but the technology to maybe deliver it, that's what's changing.
Precisely. So, a bit more on Jeremy Utley. He's been at Stanford 15 years, right in that mix of creativity, innovation, AI. He co-wrote Idea Flow, too, which is all about generating ideas.
Right, a well-regarded book.
Yeah. And what's key here is that after ChatGPT came out, he really pivoted. He saw it as this massive shift, almost like the internet hitting retail back in the day, a game changer.
That's a strong comparison. And coming from someone deep in creativity studies, that says a lot about the potential he's seeing.
Absolutely. So our mission today, drawing on Utley's work, is to pull out some practical, actionable stuff, things that people who aren't necessarily AI gurus can use to, boost their own creativity, get more done.
Sounds good. Where do we start?
Okay, so his first big idea, and it's a bit counterintuitive, don't ask AI, let it ask you.
Okay, unpack that a little. What does he mean?
Well, instead of just jumping in with, hey, AI, write me a marketing plan or whatever.
Our usual approach.
Yeah. Utley suggests you flip it. You tell the AI to act like an expert on AI itself. And then you instruct it to ask you questions, clarifying questions about how you work your workflows,
right,
what you're responsible for, your KPIs, how you measure success.
And your main goals, your objectives.
Exactly. You tell it. Ask me about these things one by one. Then, based on my answers, give me maybe 2 obvious ways AI could help. And importantly, 2 non-obvious ways.
That's smart, because you're feeding it the context it needs to give relevant advice rather than just guessing. And it forces the AI to sort of evaluate itself in relation to your specific situation.
Right. It leads to potentially much more insightful conversations, uncovering uses you'd never think of on your own.
Yeah, I can see how that would generate those less conventional recommendations he mentioned.
And he has this fantastic story to illustrate it. It's about a guy named Adam Reimer, works for the National Park Service.
Okay.
So Adam's a backcountry ranger, but also manages facilities. And he had this task. He dreaded the paperwork for replacing carpet tiles in the park lodges.
Oh boy, I can imagine. Bureaucracy at its finest.
Totally. He said it could take 2, even 3 days sometimes, just filling out forms.
Wow. That's a lot of time for carpet tiles.
Right. So Adam gets some basic AI training, nothing too fancy, and thinks, maybe AI could help here.
Okay, makes sense.
And get this, in about 45 minutes, he manages to build this simple tool using natural language that basically automates huge chunks of that paperwork.
45 minutes.
Yeah. And now, instead of 2 or 3 days, that task takes him, drastically less time. It saves him about 2 full days of work every time he has to do it.
That's incredible. That's a massive efficiency gain from a pretty small time investment up front.
But wait, it gets better. Adam then shared this tool with other people across the National Park Service. There are hundreds of parks.
Oh, wow. Good.
The Park Service actually estimates that this one tool built by Adam, who's not like a programmer or anything.
Just a ranger who saw a problem.
Exactly. It's projected to save the entire National Park Service something like 7,000 days of human labor this year alone.
7,000 days from a carpet tile tool.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
That's genuinely staggering. It really shows the power isn't just for, big tech companies. It's for anyone who understands their own workflow well enough to ask the right questions, or rather, let the AI ask them.
Absolutely. And that leads perfectly into Utley's next big point, which is about shifting our mindset. Moving from seeing AI as just a tool.
Seeing it as more of a teammate.
Exactly. He talks about this realization gap. We all hear about AI's potential, right? Speed, volume, quality improvements.
Yeah, the hype is definitely there.
But the numbers show something different. Less than 10% of professionals are actually reporting significant productivity boosts from AI. So Why the gap?
And Utley's research points to that core difference in approach. The underperformers, let's call them, tend to treat AI like a calculator or a search engine, a basic tool.
Right. You put something in, you get something out. If it's not great, maybe you tweak your input or just, give up on the tool for that task.
Precisely. But the outperformers, they treat it like a teammate. Think about it. If a human teammate gave you subpar work, you wouldn't just discard them.
No, you'd give feedback, right? You'd coach them, explain the goal better, maybe give them more context.
Exactly. You'd invest in helping them improve, you'd guide them, and going back to the first point, you'd probably encourage them to ask you questions if they're unsure.
So it connects back. Letting the AI ask questions is part of treating it like a teammate that needs context.
It flips that dynamic. It's not just human asks, AI answers. It becomes more of a dialogue, a collaboration.
That opens up some really interesting possibilities. Like Utley gives this example of using AI for role-playing. Say you have a difficult conversation coming up with a coworker.
Okay.
You could ask the AI to gather some publicly available information, maybe build a sort of basic psychological profile, carefully, ethically, of course.
Right, within reasonable bounds.
And then have the AI role-play that conversation as that coworker, giving you feedback from their likely perspective on how you're handling it.
Wow, okay. That's definitely beyond just using it as a simple tool. That's using its ability to synthesize information and simulate a perspective.
It's a much deeper level of interaction. And Utley says his students are constantly finding these kinds of unexpected, novel uses when they adopt that teammate mindset. The possibilities really expand.
It seems less about finding the right prompt and more about building a collaborative process.
Totally. And, this idea of potential reminds me of something Utley shared about his own background. He said he didn't always think of himself as super creative.
Oh, interesting. Given his field now.
Yeah, but his time at Stanford's D School, which is all about design thinking and unlocking creativity.
A famous institution for that.
Right, and also collaborating with Lecrae, the hip-hop artist. Those experiences apparently really shifted his view. He came to believe everyone has that creative spark inside them.
That aligns with the D School philosophy, for sure. And working with an artist like Lecrae must offer unique insights into the creative process itself.
Absolutely. He mentions Lecrae saying something that really stuck. Inspiration is a discipline.
Inspiration is a discipline. Say more about that.
Well, the idea is that you have to be intentional about what you feed your mind, the experiences you seek out, the things you read, the perspectives you consider, because those inputs directly shape your outputs, your ideas.
Okay, I see the connection. It's not just waiting for a lightning bolt.
Exactly. And this ties directly back to AI, because the underlying AI models, they're becoming widely available. Everyone has access to essentially the same engine.
Right, the playing field is leveling in terms of basic access.
So the differentiator isn't the AI itself anymore, it's you. It's the unique stuff you bring to it. Your experiences, your viewpoint, that inspiration you've deliberately cultivated, that's how you get unique, non-generic results.
That's a crucial point. It puts the agency back on the human collaborator. Your input, quality, your perspective, that's what elevates the output beyond the average.
Which brings us neatly to his final main takeaway. It's about the need to push past just good enough.
Ah, yes, the enemy of the great.
He actually shares this definition of creativity he got from a 7th grader, which I love. The kid said, "Creativity is doing more than the first thing you think of."
That's brilliant. Simple, but so true.
Isn't it? It cuts right to our tendency to just, stop once we find an answer, not necessarily the best answer.
Yeah, cognitive science talks about that. Functional fixedness, getting stuck in ruts, or satisficing, as Herbert Simon called it. Just finding the first acceptable solution.
Exactly. And Utley's argument is that AI makes reaching that first good enough solution easier and faster than ever, which is great, but...
But if you want something truly creative, truly exceptional, that's just the starting point.
Right. You have to deliberately push further, ask the AI for more options volume, ask for different takes variation, and then you have to do the work of evaluating, refining, combining, building on those initial outputs.
So AI doesn't change the fundamental definition of creativity that need to push boundaries. It just gives you maybe more raw material to work with faster?
Precisely. The human element of setting the objective, pushing beyond the easy answer, that remains absolutely critical, maybe even more so now.
The technology can help you explore more possibilities, but you still need the drive and the judgment to navigate them.
And Utley wraps up with this really encouraging message for creators. He's basically saying, don't be intimidated, dive in, lean into working with AI. He genuinely believes it's going to unlock potential in ways we haven't even imagined yet.
It's an optimistic view, but grounded in that collaborative approach.
Yeah. And he sums up that whole mindset shift with one line: I don't use AI, I work with it.
That says it all, really. Partnership, not just utility.
Okay, so just to quickly recap the big ideas from Utley we've explored. First, try letting the AI ask you the questions to get richer context.
Right. Flip the script to get better, more personalized insights.
Second, shift your mindset from AI as just a tool to AI, as a potential teammate, someone you coach, guide, and collaborate with.
That teammate mentality unlocks more advanced applications and better results.
And third, remember that AI makes good enough easy. But real creativity means using AI outputs as a starting point and pushing further through volume, variation, and your own judgment.
Yeah, the human drive to explore beyond the first idea is still paramount.
These feel like really practical ways to think about integrating AI, regardless of your technical skill level.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Very actionable.
So here's a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on. Think about one task, maybe something you dread or find uninspiring at work or home. How could you apply that first principle?
How could you get an AI to ask you questions about it, to help you find a totally new way to tackle it?
Yeah. And then what unique experience or perspective, what inspiration could you bring into that conversation with the AI to get a result that's truly unique to you?
It's an interesting challenge. We definitely encourage you to explore these ideas and see what happens when you start working with AI.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.